Hello everyone, this is Brown's Wealth Management Watchtower. Helena is the ultimate dream in the beauty industry, and many people often joke that it has no problems except for being expensive. Her founder, Mrs. Helena, is a disruptive figure and a woman I admire very much. She started her career with nothing and can be said to have created the entire beauty industry. With her own strength, she became the world's richest woman in an era where there were hardly any female entrepreneurs. There are no ugly women, only lazy women. That's the slogan she shouted. Come on, let's broaden our horizons today and see Mrs. Helena, a fashionable female demon who even needs to shout teacher, and the brand she created. This way, next time you go shopping crazily, you can also figure it out. Helena, a Polish born in 1872, didn't think she was particularly beautiful when she was a child, just average. As an adult, she went to Australia alone to seek refuge with her uncle because she wasn't satisfied with the marriage arranged by her parents. At the time, she was penniless. Before leaving, her mother saw that her daughter was about to leave, so she brought her 12 small boxes of facial oil. No one expected that these 12 small boxes would become the richest woman in the future world. When she was in Australia, Mrs. Helena used to sell goods in his uncle's shop. But you think it was sunny in Australia? At that time, women didn't have any awareness of skin care, so everyone's skin was very rough. This made Mrs. He, who was not so outstanding in Poland, look like a white pearl when she arrived in Australia. Because of her good skin, she was well known in the neighborhood forest. Many people asked him for skin care tips. Mrs. He, who was very business-minded, naturally thought of it and sold the 12 small boxes of facial oil his mother gave him for money. The result is a huge business opportunity. Helena face cream was praised by everyone. When Mrs. Helena saw what kind of shop I was, I asked my mother for a secret recipe and started the business of facial oil. So in 1902, Mrs. He came to Melbourne and opened the first beauty salon. Because there was no concept of skin care or beauty at that time, and there was no such brand, Mrs. He became the originator of beauty salons all over the world. Mrs. Helena developed eye cream according to the secret recipe her mother gave him. As a result, everyone agreed to use it, and guests streamed in. Mrs. He also earned her first bucket of gold in Australia. Think about it, everyone has a love for beauty. Not only Australian women love beauty, but also Europeans. Mrs. He must be thinking about going back and forth from where she is. I want to open branches in Europe and have also opened beauty salons in Paris and London. At the London beauty salon, Mrs. He found that the skin of this British woman was completely different from that of Australia. Because the geographical environment was different after all, he thought it was impossible for everyone to use the same face cream. I had to apply the right medicine to the case and give different solutions to different skin. So there was a three-way classification of oily, neutral and dry skin. This is actually a pioneer of personalized scientific skin care. You see, when we talk about sensitive skin and acne-prone skin, the classification of various types of skin is actually based on this most basic three-point system. In 1914, when World War I broke out, Mrs. He resolutely decided to switch to the United States and opened a beauty salon on Fifth Avenue in New York. This quickly sparked a wave of skin beauty in New York. If you want to become beautiful, who wouldn't want to? Mrs. Helena innovatively came up with the idea of teaching others makeup and skin beauty in her salon. In this salon, she not only teaches you how to take care of your skin, but also small tips for makeup and beauty. All kinds of things have become a beauty class. Just look at what major bloggers are doing on various platforms now. Mrs. Helena was already doing it 100 years ago. There are no ugly women, only lazy women. This is what Mrs. Helena said. Helena has also become synonymous with beauty lovers. In 1928, Mrs. Helena started with $780,000 sold Helena to Lehman Brothers, yes, the Lehman Brothers that collapsed during the 2008 financial crisis. Do you think that's it? Following that, the United States experienced the Great Depression in 1929, the assets depreciated significantly, and the Hellion Corporation, which was just sold for 7.8 million yuan, was bought back by Mrs. He for 1 million yuan. Unexpectedly, Mrs. He is still a legendary short seller. Over the next 10 years, Mrs. He has been engaged in scientific skin care, and together with the French laboratory, she has developed a hormonal facial mask. Later, she began to study makeup. powder, powder blusher, waterproof eye black, anti-aging cream are all innovative masterpieces of Mrs. He. In 1965, at the age of 94, Mrs. Helena passed away. At that time, the Helena brand had spread to 15 countries and had more than 32,000 employees. She herself became the world's richest woman with a net worth of $100 million. In 1988, Helena was acquired by L'Oreal Group and became the highest-end brand line under L'Oreal, continuing the concept of technology becoming beauty. In fact, there are also many star products of Helena now, such as black bandages and green screens, which are used by many female celebrities and can be considered as their skincare goddesses. After more than 120 years of history, they are now being pursued by many new elites with a relatively low-key and luxurious image. That's all for this issue. If you have any questions, you can communicate in the comment section. If you are struggling with investment and financial management in your daily life, you can follow me with your fingers and give you different perspectives to plan your investment and financial management, making your life more comfortable. See you in the next issue.